And his name is Joe,
Hi,
and
Joe.
he's here to talk about what he's been through and how he wants to help the literacy class. And maybe he can partner up with you guys sometime and help with your class and lighten you guys' load.
Sure.
Take it away, Joe.
All right. There you go.
Hey there.
Hi, Joe.
Hey. So like she said, my name is Joe, and I grew up with a learning disability. From a very young age, I just couldn't figure out how to read and write. It was not easy for me. I started out in a Catholic school, at a private school, and I struggled. I was failing all my classes, and when the teacher would read me the questions, I would know the answer. But when I would read the question, I would have no idea what it said. When all my other classmates were understanding how to read and write, when they were flying by me, I was staying still. I wasn't moving forward, I wasn't going anywhere, and it was frustrating. So I remember specifically, I had a meeting with my mom and my dad and my teacher, and I had failed a test, another test, and my teacher said, you know, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just not smart. Something's wrong. And so my mom said, you know what? How about you read him? Bring us the test. So she brought the test over, and my teacher read me the questions off the test one by one. I got 100. It wasn't the fact that I was unintelligent, it was the fact that I had an issue reading, and I couldn't read well, and I wasn't progressing. So what did we do? At the time, private schools didn't have IEPs set up like public schools did. So, instead of staying at that private school, I went to a public school. And I went out and I got something called an IEP. And a lot of us probably had IEPs going through the school system, or wish we did. And the IEP, the Individualized Education Plan, really did help me start getting on that road to success in a lot of different ways. So a lot of things that I had with my IEP was things like more time on tests, or I had people read me my exams, or I had testing in a different format, but still, that wasn't always enough. I got through elementary school just fine. I slid by. I learned how to mimic what people were saying to me. So I learned that if you told me one thing as you're reading a book, I'll repeat it back to you. I didn't learn the information. Instead of actually writing down what I thought was going on, I would write what I saw on my friend's paper or what I heard my friends say, not what I was understanding, because again, the classes were going so quickly. And again, the material is over my head. So by the time I got to high school, again, I'm in a boat of, we're reading big books, and I'm not really sure where to go with it. So when I was in high school, I had a teacher. My teacher's name was Miss Alberto, and she was the yearbook teacher. So we made all the yearbooks. Miss Alberto told me, you know what, you're not that, reading is hard for you. Writing is hard for you. Math isn't the easiest thing. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna fail. You can't fail. So, instead, I learned how to be creative. I took up a camera, and I started working as a photographer for the yearbook. And for the first time in my life, I was able to be successful with something that wasn't reading and writing, because those are still hard for me. I was able to be successful through creativity. And I was able to get notoriety. I was able to get other people seeing me in a good light instead of being the class clown. I was so angry most of the time because I wasn't able to keep up with my peers, with people around me, that I would act out and I would be mean or I would be disruptive, and I wasn't nice because I was upset with myself. The fact that I can't read well isn't going to hurt me. And the fact that I can't write well isn't going to hurt me, because I can create a book out of a computer. And that's cool because it's creative. And I'm using the skills that I do have, not the ones I don't. And that was the thing I learned when I was in high school, is how to focus on myself and how to focus on skills that I have and not be mad at myself for skills that I don't have. I think that's the biggest lesson that we can really talk about on a consistent basis is all of us are so different. And the thing that we need to focus on is what are our abilities, not disabilities. We hear that a lot. So when I got into college, I finished high school, barely skimping by. And I got into college and I started at a community college up in Tallahassee, Florida. I went 5 hours from home to learn how to be independent, like you guys are doing right now at the Center for Independence. And I went 5 hours from home and was terrified. And it was hard and it wasn't easy. And making new friends and learning how to cook for myself, learning how to do dishes and do my laundry, it took a lot of work. And it wasn't the easiest thing to learn how to do. I finally figured out, when I go grocery shopping, I only have, $70 to spend for the week. I can't blow it all on junk food. I need to live a certain way, and I need to learn how to live on a budget. So I was able to figure out some of the more basic life skills, but I still wanted to get a degree. I still wanted to have my bachelor's. I still wanted to go through college. So what did that leave me with? I'm weak at reading out loud or reading from a book. I can't do that well. I'm not very good with writing because my spelling, you would think I was in 5th grade. It's awful. So I learned how to use accommodations. I learned how to use things to my advantage. Some of the things I learned how to do is anytime I had a book to read for one of my classes, I would get it on my iPod. And what I would do is I would go walking around my neighborhood and I would listen to the book and I would walk for an hour or two. And within 2 days, the book is done. I've listened to it. I understand it because I'm physically moving. And that physical motion is my distraction. While listening to the book, I'm understanding the information. So something that might have taken me 2 months to read, a book, a novel, it's done in 2 days. That was the first accommodation I learned how to do. And a lot of times you can get these books for free. They're not crazy expensive. There's programs where you can get them for free online or through other disability support services. So that was my first accommodation, but gosh, the writing. No one can understand my writing because my spelling is so bad. So what is something else I did? I have a tablet. Lots of people have tablets these days. So there's something on my tablet that is called voice to text. I talk to my tablet, and my tablet writes out for me what I want it to say. So learning how to use technology and learning how to use accommodations really changed my life in so many ways. But one of the biggest things is that decision I made when I was in high school to not focus on my disabilities, not focus on the things that I have troubles with, but focus on the things that I can do. I can speak in public really well. I can take photographs of things. I can be creative with the computer. I can't write too well. I can't read really well, but I'll listen to a book and I'll understand it. And there's so many different things that we have in all of our lives. So many different things that we're special at and that we're good at and that we can do better than someone else. And then we have difficulties, but that's okay. So I'm going through college still, and I'm writing, and I'm reading, and I'm making it through my courses, and then I was given a really cool opportunity to go abroad, and to go to Guatemala. And some of my stuff here is from Guatemala. I have a jacket that I wear that was made there.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
I've got my book bag that was made there.
Wow.
But these things, they were made in Guatemala, and when I went there with school. And for the first time in my life, I left the country. And I left on my own. And the skills that I learned, those basic skills of, shopping on a budget, and doing my laundry, and living independently, helped me live in this foreign country. And those skills that I learned with listening to my books and writing with my tablet, those same skills helped me be successful in Guatemala when I was working in the capital. And those same skills helped me be successful as an individual and give me the strength to actually want to leave and want to do these things. So really, it all comes down to having knowledge that you are worth it, and that you can do so many different things in this world. You're only limited by yourself. And putting your mind to it, it sounds cheesy, but it's true. Once you know you can do something, you can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a little bit about my story. I had a lot of struggles growing up. Again, I was telling my boss the other day, when I went through the school system, I had an IEP, and I had all these accommodations. But the school I went to, I grew up in Tampa, and the school I went to, most of the accommodations, maybe I got them, maybe I didn't. The ESC director of my school, yeah, she didn't care whether or not I was succeeding. She wasn't helping me. She actually told me, you should probably drop out of school because, you're not going to make it. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do anything. Why are you here? There's no point. You're not worth it. I was told that by countless teachers growing up, that I wasn't worth it because of my disability, not because of my abilities. So that's my message, and that's the reason that I'm here, is to kind of relay the message that people can tell you whatever they want to, but they're focused on disabilities. They're not focused on your individual abilities and strengths. And that's the reality of this world, that you have all of these different abilities, each and every one of us, and that we can do whatever we want with them.